The human connection is always going to matter more than any kind of digital.
Every single look really represents something super deep and personal to me.
Have you guys heard about Cyberdecks?
Because my life has been in such a way that I've lived in different countries, hence I have a lot of friends all over the world, and we all migrated, a lot of us migrated from Iran because of the war.
You compare like 80s versus today, and it feels like 80s was just so maximalist and full of color and so much.
These kids are literally building their own microcomputer in like makeup boxes and like little Hello Kitty things.
You can even argue your lifestyle can be art in itself.
When I'm designing, all I think about is to create something new and to incorporate as much details as possible as I can.
My name is Elijah. I'm the host here for today and the founder for Circles Chat. And I'm going to go in a circle, going from left all the way across. And I'm going to have you guys introduce yourself, what you guys do in the industry as well. And what I think people are going to want to know is what your introduction was in fashion. So I know for myself, where I would actually honestly say I got interested in fashion industry. Like I've known growing up through the 2000s of different brands. So I've seen FUBU, I've seen Echo. I know what Louis Vuitton is, these things. But where I first started looking into was when it's now, I believe they're defunct now, but I love Gino Green Global was her name. It was a brand that had a bunch of nines all over like the hoodie and everything. And I was just like, this is a very interesting design. I was like, what's happening here? And people told me like, oh, it's this brand here. I'm like, what is this brand? And from looking into them, and I was like, oh, okay. I ended up going into a rabbit hole and learning. And then I ended up being a part of the generation that caught on to the hype beast trends and seeing people lining up at pop-ups like miles down the road, camping out to get exclusives. And that was really my introduction and understanding, oh, okay, this is what the fashion industry is. This is the more in-depth understanding of it. So that's my introduction. So I can start with yourself here. I'm going to let you say your name and your introduction.
Okay, so my name is Desiree. I am a fashion model and a creative director and the founder of a creative agency. So I'd say my first introduction to fashion, so I am from Paris. So I feel like it's always been around me because it's such a culture thing for us. But myself, I haven't started to actually work and get into that industry only like 3 years ago, really. And I kind of fell into it very randomly, which was pretty magical. So I started, my best friend, which is an amazing photographer, Kimia Parsa. She actually pushed me to start doing photo shoots and modeling, which was very awkward at first. And I started, and then through that, one designer asked me to work for him for Fashion Week in Toronto. And then from there, I've done about like 46 runways by now. A lot of like e-commerce, also photo shoots for like brands. So yeah, that's about my story.
My name is Leyla Kashani, and my introduction to fashion was, I guess, since I was like a few years old, because I grew up in a family where my both grandmothers were amazing craftsmen people, and they both worked with their hands, just leisurely. And one taught me everything about embroidery and crochet and knitting, and the other one with beading and all different kind of techniques. And then growing up, I witnessed my mom starting and my aunt a fashion house in Iran just right after the revolution. So I've been in it since I remember. Yeah. And then once we moved to France, after finishing high school, I went to a fashion school called ESMOD. And then a year later, I moved to Toronto and started another fashion school here, the International Academy, which was good. And then since then, I've been in and out of fashion. But for this latest brand that I've been working on, it's been almost 16 years now. And I'm really enjoying it.
My name is Julien, and I'm a self-taught sustainable designer. And how I got into fashion, I was literally 10 years old, and I ended up on John Galliano Spring Summer 2001. And I didn't even understand what it was as a kid. I thought, where's the story? Why are they just walking down a platform? I didn't even get it, but it got like literally like scarred in my head or something, engraved in my head. And years later, I did acting and hair, and it brought me to modeling. And then the rest is history.
It kind of ended up just coming full circle of how everything.
One day I understood what I have been thinking about my entire life. And now today I realize how my aesthetic is so much influenced by like Vivienne Westwood, John Galliano, the creative ones, Alexander McQueen.
And I know for yourself as well, and we've been able to speak briefly, but there's a story. Like you're very much, and I think you're someone who a lot of the fashion industry gets inspired by in the Western hemisphere of letting your personality show through what you wear.
Mm-hmm.
And it honestly inspired me a lot because I see people who they think, and they're still in that mindset of thinking, okay, this is fashion. It's this specific way of wearing and dressing.
I think that came with social media, like you said, because there is still a trend. It's like there's no trends anymore, but the trend is to make it yourself, unique, and find your own thing. That's the trend.
The trend is being authentic.
Exactly.
Right? And like,
And seeing with yourself and how you bring it. And it inspired even myself of how I started realizing, okay, we're all, as you guys said, it's being authentic and just wearing what means something to you, what makes you feel like, okay, this matters to me. And I said it with someone before where it's like your brand, everyone's a brand. Whether you are in business or you're not, people see you and they associate you. You are a brand. And it's being able to say, I'm willing to stand on something. What is that thing I stand on? What is this thing that matters to me? Is it conservation? Is it this or that? Whatever it is. And letting yourself style yourself. And it's that inner personal style that ends up mattering as well. So I guess, what is it that you guys see within yourself and helped you with realizing how you put your own personal style, put your own personal, even just personality into your style and then into how you create from there?
For me, it's not really about how we look. It's more about the level of dedication. Example, right now, we look good like this because of this event, of what we're doing. But I look up to those artists and designers who dress up like club kids, even to go to the grocery store or the convenience store. And like every day is a commitment to their own art. And like, it's like they're always doing a performance art. You know what I mean? That's what I strive to. Like, I want to like all my clothes to look like this all the time.
So for me, you know what's kind of funny? I feel like because I have all those tattoos, I feel like I've been put in a box for so long, you know, of like, oh, the edgy girl with all the tattoos. But deep down, I'm really not edgy, guys. I'm like, classy. I love to be classy. I love to be elegant. I love to be soft. I love to be like a little Barbie. But I do really love that, you know, like that contradiction. I feel like this is me. This is who I am, you know, like having that sort of contradiction, like I can be all of this.
Duality.
I can be that duality. Like I am deep down, right? And as I gotten older, obviously, like I'm getting more and more rooted in that. Also, like my face plays a big part of it, you know, and like how I dressed up, how I present myself, you know, like I want to kind of have those core values to almost like being shown through like how I carry myself on an everyday basis. And that's kind of, I think, like what makes people very interested in me, because they would never think that when they see me from the first time, you know?
It's like leaning more into yourself, literally.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And how about for yourself?
For me, I have to say, Unlike you, like I don't really think too much before getting dressed. Like it's always a last minute thing, but I like it, individuality. I like wearing things like to look authentic, you know. I don't like to look as if I've worked hard on myself to present myself, but I think if you're authentic, and it always comes true.
Very
Yeah,
true.
it will always look effortless
Yeah.
if you're authentic. It's like you can always tell when someone is
Yeah.
like trying too hard, and there's
I
always
know,
something a bit
oh my
off,
God.
you know?
Mhm.
I know we're all like that. Like,
Yeah.
even when you go do your laundry, you're really not thinking, but like your neighbor is gonna be like, "Oh, I like your fit."
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh my God, I didn't take it." You know?
But it's interesting too, because as much as because we're not thinking about it too tough of like, and I think you said it perfectly of like, if you think of it too much, it doesn't come off authentic. And I know it's for myself, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm not going to be like, okay, I'm looking to be this kind of way, whatever. But I end up looking at my closet and I look at what I wear. I look at what I say, maybe not that one, maybe this one. And I'm like, there's a story here. There's something that is still me that's like, that comes across. And I actually love how you put it for yourself, where you're saying you do get viewed in a certain way, but your natural aesthetic, it's very classy. It's very, for lack of a better word, like luxury, like kind of feeling.
Very
And
French.
it puts people, and I think it inspires a lot of people. And I think all of you guys honestly inspire people in some kind of way. And that's what fashion, that's what trends are. It's being allowing yourself to be that person that says, I'm going to speak for me. I'm going to be like who I am 10 toes down.
Honestly, there's no limits. Like,
Yeah.
especially in this day and age,
No rules.
maximalism is in, minimalism is in. You can
Anything
layer
goes.
up everything like Sarah Camposa, but you can also just wear saran wrap like Julia Fox.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
and I love, I'm going to get to both of you, and I'll say for you guys as well, like with the designs, there's specific designs both of you guys have that I saw in your collections. And just to explain it as well for people and how that comes across in your inspiration there. You have the set that you have that's like a very origami style within the dresses and full piece, everything was very beautifully done. And you yourself, you had one fit, and I believe it was like different belts that became like a top. I don't even know how the stitching works for that, but those were very interesting pieces that I saw. And just to let people know how that came about and how you ended up bringing that into your sustainable fashion.
Well, as for origami, it was just flukes. Like I was just going through Instagram and I saw this guy who does pleating, origami pleating online, and he was in Iran, and I called him up and I told him that I want to meet with him next time I'm there. And I went to his studio, and in fact, his father owned a pleating company, very old school style. And since he was interested in origami, he apparently had learned origami with an origami master, a Japanese origami master. I believe it was in the embassy of Japan in Iran. So once he learned it, he started playing with fabrics, and he had created all this beautiful stuff, but he wasn't a designer or into fashion, and he hadn't done anything with it. So I got really excited and I got a piece from him and I started working with it, and it turned out really good. And that started this whole thing about 6-7 years ago. I worked with pleats before that, but this type, which is hand pleated origami style, is since I met him. And then it's always a challenge for me. I like to use or try to make something with things that I've never worked before. I love that challenge. Mm-hmm. So that started the whole new line, and we still continue working together. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love, there's just something I want to say about those pieces. You know how like crazy, it's like, you know, origami, usually it's something so delicate, but the way on your pieces, like it makes it feel so powerful.
Yes.
And I just find it so fascinating how, like something that normally is like super soft and delicate and can like break easily. And you took that and you put it in a way that like makes your models feel, because I was backstage for your show. So I would see, the models and then, they were feeling like, wow, I feel powerful. I feel like, this is, an armor. How do you say it?
Armor.
Yeah. So I just found that so cool,
That's a big thing. Like
right?
when your models feel confident and feel themselves in your creations, it's everything.
Yeah.
And I loved how I experimented it with the leather and it turned out.
Exactly, right? It looked amazing. I never seen anything like that before.
And the thing I think is like people, I love how you did it with leather too, because a lot of people, they look at leather, and I've heard certain designers say as well, like trying to figure out cuts and folds with leather, they're like, it's almost impossible. It almost feels like there's limitations in some people's minds of what can be done with leather. And you found this way of like,
it is hard. Leather is super difficult. Like even me just painting on it, let me tell you, sometimes.
God. I have like 5 sewing machines. I tried, but I miss the techniques.
We all do. The amount of things I destroyed maybe more than what I make. Right. Yeah.
Okay, for the belt corset and the belt skirt, I have to give Julia Fox her flowers. She's the one who inspired me. I'm not gonna say it was just all mine, but she basically had just thrown belts together, so it was not like a real top. And I thought I had these belts, and I was already into the process of like finding out how to recycle. Because my thing is like, it's funny how all my life I've kind of been sustainable without knowing it, because I've always customized my own clothes just to look different. But it was not trendy back then, right? You were like a freak. Now everyone customizes their own clothes. And then being in fashion, you realize there's a dark side, right, to the industry, the amount of waste, and then other things like how people get abused in the industry. Right. So I really went through a phase where I need to make our industry better. What can I do to make this better for the world, And this is how I found sustainable fashion. So for me, it's really the best way, because there's just too much clothes in the world. Yeah. There's no way around it. Like even if we ship clothes to countries in need, we're fucking up their own economy because they won't get clothes in their local stores. So the only way is really to recycle. And by doing sustainable designs, you reduce, recycle, reuse. So now I've took like 10 belts, made one top with 10 articles,
And I think that's what made it seem like for that piece, I was very interested in, because I know how much sustainable fashion is for like yourself as well. And again, it's like, I think, I can't remember what was off camera or on camera, we're saying this to talk about sustainable fashion, and the idea people having their head of it of, okay, it's just recycled cotton. I don't get it. I don't understand. But you put it of like, I'm going to put it in your face. I'm going to show you, okay, this can be sustainable fashion. Like you're literally wearing something sustainable.
That's literally how I see it. When I do my fashion show, I'm like, every piece is, I'm showing people what you can do. Like at my last show, every piece was a different material. You know, I had denim, I had masks from COVID, I had t-shirt scraps, like literally anything, fake leather. Easier to work with.
But it's not sustainable. This fake leather is like, I
know, but I'm recycling it.
We can
to a new piece. Same with like faux fur or like even real fur. Now I know a designer who's using real fur, but he's using recycling pieces. So it's still sustainable fashion because they're just out there in the world, right?
As long as you taking what's and I was gonna say, for yourself, you had an interesting video that you made where you had used the Weeknd song. I think it was "Cry for Me," if I remember correct. Because I remember I watched the video and then after I think like a week later, the Weeknd had his music video come out, and I was just like, the way that must be like a spiritual connection or something. How it came about, how they became so similar, and I just was feeling a lot of like even saying it, I felt a lot of spiritual connection with how you put that one together. If you could explain how that, if you recall, when I'm speaking of the...
Yeah, so it's Open Arts, the song. Yeah.
Open Arts.
Yes. So how this came about. So me and my business partner, Kimia Parsa, so we've been wanting to, like make fashion films, but like something that's like personal to us. Like how can we tell a story not being like in a secular world, you know? So that was the main thing. And we came up with this idea of, okay, how about I try to tell my story of, my salvation, basically, but through fashion, and this is something that it just came up. It was honestly, like you said, like very like spiritual ways. Like it came up within 10 minutes. We were like, oh my God, this is what we're going to do. So yeah, like we were like, this is something we haven't really seen. Like, how can you tell stories through fashion? So the main thing is literally every single look really represents something super deep and personal to me. And the song just tells that story, which is kind of mind-blowing, So that's what we're trying to do, It's because I think fashion, for me, it makes you feel something. Whether you're into fashion or not, you're going to see some looks and style, and that's going to make you feel something. Whether you don't like it, whether it revolts you, but like, or it's going to make you feel like, wow, it's going to make you feel something. This is art. So that's the way I see fashion. For me, this is art. This is a way to express yourself. This is a way to make people feel something. And that's been really my focus in that. Because even as a model, this is why I love modeling so much. Because for me, it's beyond me. It's not about me as a model. It's about how can I tell that designer's story wearing those pieces, when I walk down the runway, when I do photo shoot with them, how do those clothes makes me feel? What's the story behind it? What's, the energy? Like, and to me, that is really fascinating.
It kind of happens like magic.
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah.
In my last show, I had to use new models, right? That are just starting their careers. And I gave them their chances, and I knew that with the design, the music, the makeup, it's just inevitable. They're going to feel themselves and it's going to be like a story.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the way like I really see it. That might be a hot tag, but I don't think you're a good designer if like it doesn't make like if you don't feel something. Okay,
what do you think of people who are like, fashion isn't art? I'm sorry, I disagree.
I disagree strongly.
Like a lot of designers, it's like art to them.
It is, exactly. Exactly. To me, this is art. A designer is an artist.
They're using a material to create something.
Yeah, exactly.
And literally look at the stories that we're discussing about in the designs you guys have and how you relate that to people. And it literally everything we're saying, it ties in what I was going to mention next, where it goes into where social media, it's media. Media is a form of expression, which ends up being its own form of art, and how you curate that to people and how people understand it. And you're able to curate that. I think that's what people are very much having to understand with fashion, with everything. It's algorithm based, and you're curating to a specific, you're going to end up curating to a specific algorithm at the end of the day. So it ends up being very interesting how there's so much, and people are having to understand that this is an art piece. This is art that's happening here. And we're speaking to people because a lot of us were so used to who weren't growing up in an era where phones were the main media, where TV was the main media. There's maybe only, depending on how you grew up, 25, 60 or so channels that told you this is the thing to think. This is the way to think. We're going to put this in front of you. That is it. Yeah. Where now social media has opened that so much where I don't even know how much we'd be able to have this conversation and like thousands of people know who each of you guys are.
Like at the holidays, my father got overwhelmed a little bit with people filming at the family party, right? Everyone's filming. And then he realized how he was in everyone's videos without approval, right? And that freaked him out a little bit. And I had to like explain to him that like, Dad, like we are raised with cameras everywhere around us. The people we look up to have cameras around us. Everything is about like this kind of screen reflection relationship between the viewer, the performer.
Yeah.
And the thing about art, social media can be art because everyone is trying to figure out like what defines art. Like how can you describe what is art, what is not art, but you can't.
No.
You can only feel it.
Yeah.
The medium doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like anything can be art. There are artists who did stuff with their excrements.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just a difference of canvas.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because there's art performances, you know, also. So that's what I mean. Like, what is art? It's just
art,
you know,
because it's like a live performance.
Yeah. Yeah. You can even argue your lifestyle can be art in itself.
Exactly, because everyone has a certain way of walking, a certain way of eating.
And for all of you guys who, I feel like all of us, like at least 80% of people who are listening and the world in general, watching the adjustment of the new canvas being the phone, how is it for yourselves when you're adjusting to that, and for the people who have their own designs and they're trying to figure out how do I adjust in to this canvas of the phone media and using that of expressing myself or expressing my brand?
You know what? The phone is then the canvas. You're the canvas. And it's like everyone is kind of like that blue sweater in The Devil Wears Prada. You're part of it even if you don't want to be, you know?
True.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great in a way that you can reach more people, you know, and you can really show yourself. That can bring amazing opportunity. I know, like, I got amazing opportunities through social media, but also there's a dark side of, you know, the competition of it. And like, you have to constantly create new content, constantly. And sometimes for me, like, I see as like, I'd rather put out quality things that really reflects me and my work than just constantly.
Absolutely. I agree.
You know?
For me, it's not about how often you post. It's the quality of what you post. But I know that it doesn't matter to the algorithm.
Exactly.
And we know that most people, they like a stupid meme over art.
Yeah.
More, you know? But I don't think it matters.
No.
I think we should still just keep doing our thing.
I agree.
Because I think at the end of the day with it, it's people, like, as much as there's going to be a lot of people who flood to something that's just brain run. This is okay. I'm watching this, boom, my mind's going through. I notice myself when I'm actually interacting, and I'm like, okay, I'm taking something. I have things that are very intentional in my algorithm. And you're getting yourself into those intentional algorithms with the intentional pieces you do. Like I found out about, I know your pop-up, for example, I was scrolling, like we were talking about it through text. And then after I saw it when I was scrolling later on, and I was like, wait, oh my, because you're just saying, I have a pop-up this day, maybe we'll talk that day. I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, wait, I know this store. I know this person. Oh my goodness, that's their pop-up over here. And it ended up in my algorithm in that kind of way. So even with little things like that, it comes in, and then I start seeing more of even your own like shoots that you've done, like things you've curated as well. And I imagine when you're making these things, you're not thinking in your head, I'm trying to get to this person here, but you're creating. And when you're curating, and you probably have a team as well that you creative direct these shoots with, what's it like when you're thinking to yourself, okay, I guess it's a matter of not overthinking it, but there's still like this thought process you go through of like, okay, this is what I'm trying to
You're onto something there, I think, because I think what it is that for us, it's like who you reach, not how many people you reach. And it matters more. It works for us because it's like, it doesn't matter if you reach 1 million people that don't know about fashion and won't buy your designs. But if you reach 3 people that are going to become your clients, it's everything. So you've seen her content, and it's like, we're becoming our own community. You know, that's what matters.
Yes.
But it can be also really scary, you know, like, if you watch those documentaries about social media and stuff, it's like we cannot win because literally there's like so many fake bots and fake likes and fake things. And then there are these companies that literally, they know for sure that like big celebrities even if they have 6 million followers, for example, half of them are bots.
Yeah.
They buy like, and that's still,
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to put a pin because I'm gonna get to that in one little bit.
still giving them money. It's still, it's like fakeness. It's still engineering every money for everyone and everything. And it's like, you can't win against those big corporations.
We're gonna get right into that in one little bit. I'm gonna let you get to that, but you're going right where we're about to get to. But I was gonna say, I want you to say the part where you're saying of when you're curating and you're doing the creative direction for the pieces to get the message across, what kind of goes through your head, I guess, even with the last pieces that you're doing the shoots for example?
To me is, first of all, the most important thing is innovation. And also I try to incorporate as many different crafts as possible and to make sure I do them justice. And I like to always incorporate, there has to be meaning in my work. For example, for this last collection, the fashion show we did, I was lucky because I did the whole collection in 2 months and I wasn't even here when I accepted it. And I called my friend who has a factory here, like, will you help me make this stuff? And he goes, yeah, like, I'll help you out. And then just by coincidence, when I was there, she showed me all these leftover Guipure lace that was from a production she did for someone else, all these little strips. And she goes, do you want these? I'm like, yes. And the fact that I'm reusing and upcycling was meaningful to me. But when I'm designing, all I think about is to create something new and to incorporate as much details as possible as I can, and also incorporate different crafts in it to come up with something that's not out there. You know, when you go out shopping, I get depressed. Like when I go out, when I go like to a mall which I hate, and I look at all these shops filled with clothing, all these different sizes, and it's coming and coming. I get claustrophobic, and sometimes I feel like I should stop doing what I'm doing until someone shakes me and goes, no, what you're doing is different. It has meaning. It has authenticity and so on. But I think there's so much out there that we don't need to even add one more piece to this huge inventory of garbage in this world.
I go to the mall and I don't even understand how everything is ugly. Everything looks the same as it did 20 years ago. Like literally, I remember going in the mall in 2017 at 17 years old. No, in 2007 at 17 years old. And like literally, it's the same things. Like if you look at the stores, it's the same thing.
Well, things keeps coming back, right? Like it's like I feel like in like the commercial fashion,
there's no quality. You know, it's just quantity, and
exactly.
I don't know. And then with the brands, like the prices, and it just doesn't. I don't understand.
What I find is, and tying that with what I was going to say with you, what you're saying into the next part as well. I love how it's like the conversation is going and it's tying everything one bit at a time. Everything's going together. And it's interesting where there are curations of at a certain level. There's bots that are going to be added in and algorithm's going to boost and it's going to this specific thing. But then there's also a matter of, there are a lot of brands and we're seeing a lot when we go into the mall. It feels like there's a lot that are playing it safe. And it's funny, I was just in the mall yesterday as you guys were saying this, and because I had to find a couple things to wear, and I was looking through the stores and I'm like, this store feels like that one. It feels like that one. And it almost feels like a lot of what people are saying is the joke essentially is you compare like 80s versus today. And it feels like 80s was just so maximalist and full of color and so much.
Nothing has soul anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not just the clothing. I've seen this other podcast when they were talking about that, and it started with the food. They were talking about how the food we eat is shit and it's soulless. And even bread 1,000 years ago, it was like bread. It was like good, you know, and it was like for everyone. And now if you look at clothes, there's no soul. Even if you look at buildings, there's no soul. Like before, buildings were made with art and engraved in like everything. And now it's just like prison blocks, literally.
Just want to do it fast and
it's really,
and this is where, and it's good talk because I feel like what the next trend essentially is, like this is me putting my brain just watching things, is that what you're saying is when things are done on a more local levels, people are able to have more freedom to experiment. And tying to another podcast I was doing as well, we're talking about looking at the film industry. The film industry had a huge shift in 1975 when independent films started becoming the main thing, because the major film production companies, they were getting a little nervous of how to invest, what to invest. And we're kind of seeing that today, where we're seeing a lot of remakes, for example, not just in film, but as you're saying, in music and
everywhere.
art and all forms of art. They're nervous of figuring out, okay, can I go 10 toes into investing in this thing here? But the people on a more local level, they don't have that fear. They're wanting to showcase themselves. So I feel like that next step is a lot of local art, a lot of local artists. And I think about how pop-ups are so much bigger. And I think people don't look at pop-ups as huge right now because you're not seeing people going absolutely insane at certain pop-ups as we used to before, but it feels very intentional.
Yes, I think so. I think they are going insane. If you look, I have young clients, also I do hair, and I see what's going on with the young generation. And I am so proud of them because lots of them are disconnecting from social media. And that kind of overlaps with the previous question for me. What is hard for me with social media is finding the balance between getting inspired and not losing touch with your own signature, right? And then what was I saying about, what was the last thing you said?
Give me a second, my apologies.
Oh yeah, the young generation.
Yes.
So they don't care about what's practical or what is going to make more money. I see people going back to like dyeing fabric with flowers or like burying clothes in the sand to give them color, and like using old tools and techniques, older tricks and older technologies. Like maybe it's kind of like a natural resentment to everything being fake. So like everyone is going back to real.
Yes.
I think anything that has real human touch now has more value to us.
Yeah, I agree.
And people can feel it, I think. Like I did use AI on a website building tool to create descriptions for my items. And it's not really working. And I really wondered if it wouldn't be better to just take the time to write every item description, even if the AI can do it perfectly. Maybe it's something else that we can describe. It's like more about the soul.
You know what I think this is? I think there's a real like cry out for real connection, especially with the newer generation. Because of COVID, a lot of those kids ended up, not having the
Isolated.
social, being isolated. And then also like social media can feel very isolating.
And fake.
So I think that like steps to that, like people crave that real, authentic human connection. And I think that is tied down to things from the past, how we used to do things before.
Not bringing your phone or your camera to the club.
Yeah.
And I think what's happening is, it's funny you mentioned the AI, because a thing in my head I was thinking of is we're all using it. We're all using social media where it feels like we have to almost. And when things start to feel like I have to use this, it gets this overwhelming feeling. Yeah. So one thing you were saying as well with the younger people, they're getting overwhelmed with it. They want to be away from their phones. You're mentioning as well how people, they're starting to have like parties where there's no phones. Yeah. And I've even seen, funny, I was on the subway the other day and I seen these young boys, must have been like high school kids, and they're communicating with each other on walkie-talkies through different like.
I love that.
That is so cool. Have you guys heard about Cyberdecks?
No.
These kids are literally building their own microcomputer in like makeup boxes and like little Hello Kitty things. Like It's crazy. It's like a new trend on TikTok. Like these kids are literally building computers that works out of like Game Boys and yeah, like it's so cool. I found this and I was like, oh my God, like science fiction shit.
I guess it's a piece of where people are finding ways of like, because that's still a physical piece where you see looking down the street, you're like, as opposed to scrolling down, like, oh wow, it hits you very different when you see it in person. Like, oh, how did you do that there? And I guess even with what you guys do yourselves with how you guys create and bring it into your brands, bring it into your creative directing, thinking about that physical media and the importance of it, but still showing people, hey, physical really matters right now. And how's it like for yourself? If it ever comes to mind, or if you ever think about how you end up doing it, maybe even unintentionally.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think for us at our creative agency, like we strive to be a boutique style agency because that's what we want to do. We want to make sure if we work with a brand designer, we're really going to meet up. We're really going to like get time to get to know each other, get to know the brand, the story. What do we want to achieve out of that, and have that real, like, human connection. And that's why we're very intentional in what we create. And we'd rather create less, but be more hyper focused on something and really like give that time so we can create something meaningful that people can emotionally connect to beyond just a piece of clothing. We don't want to create content for just content and for like, to try to sell one piece. Like, oh my God, we need to sell, 5,000 pieces of that. No, we want to create a real emotional connection. And I think that's because that's what people crave nowadays, like even me, if I want to buy like clothing, I want to buy something that makes me feel like I can feel connected to. And because I want to rewear it. I don't want to just like put something in and throw it, So for us, I think that's the way, I guess, we like input that.
I find that, the fact that I travel a lot helps. And because my life has been in such a way that I've lived in different countries, hence I have a lot of friends all over the world. And we all migrated, a lot of us migrated from Iran because of the war and the revolution and everything. And we are all all over. And thanks to social media and Facebook, we've kept in touch. And I think this human connection that I've kept throughout my life has helped me develop a very strong sense of community. Mm-hmm. And this community have actually been very important in all aspects of my work. I'm glad to say that I truly have good friends and connections all over, in all the countries I lived, or countries where my friends or schoolmates or they live. And I think all this opens new doors to you, and it's good to be open, open-minded. I love, like, the same way we became friends and I ended up here, like, I'm open to, I like new experiences. I like to meet people. And this is, I think, what's strong in my work as well. The love of meeting new people, curating people, artists, textiles, experiences. All this opens, like, one thing leads to another. And I think that has played a very important role in my life and in my business.
I think a big thing of what even you're saying, and it draws what a lot of us end up saying in some kind of way. I remember even earlier in the conversation is the human connection is always going to matter more than any kind of digital aspect, where even in the digital, where we're trying to figure things in algorithms we're talking about, and you're mentioning how it's not about reaching the thousands, but sometimes just the 3 people. And it's a matter of any kind of thing that you create, you have your story, and there's a little bit of someone who wants to explain that. And I think we can all think about, like, there's a brand that we love, like today when we're growing up, whatever it is, and someone else, oh, what's that? I love how even when you mentioned the Cyberdecks, we're the people who are communicating it mainly to other people, like, oh, you don't know about Leyla? You don't know about Julien? Let me tell you, this is what they do. Oh, you haven't heard about Desiree, the creative director? This is what they do. And we end up speaking of it in our own passionate way and our own perspective, so importantly, that we are the one piece of the line, the communication.
Yeah. It's like what matters naturally comes out through us.
Yeah. And I don't think you can be successful on your own. You need people around you to elevate each other. Like, for me, I think it's even more important to have people around you that believe in your vision even more than you believe in yours. Yeah. Because, see, that's where I ended up modeling. That friend, Kimia, she saw in me a model. She saw something that I could not even see at that time, And she implanted that vision in me which then, brought me to where I am today. So with that, so I think that's why it's so important, having like a shared vision of just like wanting to elevate each other,
Do you feel like when you create, you almost know the person it's going to go to? Like, I feel like when I create my things, I go by teams. Like, it started with band t-shirts, right? I was making custom denim jackets. And I felt like each team, each jacket, I know this person is going to like the Beatles. This person is going to like Marilyn. And I found that also what works is to use culture. Pop culture works so hard because everyone connects to it, where I want to go, I want to take more risks like you. I want to travel, I think that's something we have to do, take more risks.
And there's I think you're about to say something with the connection piece. And
no, I was going to say, going back to what you said, it's so important when other people believe in you.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the one person who pulled me back into fashion, because I've had it with fashion, like about, I don't know, after I had my store, I told you I had a clothing store for 3 years, and then I had to close it down because I was working like a dog, not making money. And then once my lease was over, I'm like, I'm done. And then I worked for another company as a wardrobe consultant. And then I got pregnant with my second child. And I'm like, I've had it with fashion. Like, it doesn't do it for me anymore. So I left it. I opened restaurants, and one restaurant, and I also built homes. And until when I went back to Iran, like a few years later, and I encountered all these vintage textiles, and I saw the intricacy of them, and something moved me. And then my friend here, who back then used to have a club gallery on Carla, he called me up, goes, Leyla, I'm doing a fashion show for Lucien Matisse. It's in a week, and I want you to also do a show. I'm like, are you kidding? I can't do it. But I did it in a week. I put together like 10 looks, and it's only because of what he triggered something in me again. He brought that sense of wanting to create, and he told me that you have it in you. You can't let it go. And that whole started, that thing started this whole
You guys are
journey.
saying this,
Wow.
and I realized myself the same thing. It took someone. Like my first show, I didn't even call myself a designer yet. I was just making stuff for fun. And then one of my friends, Natasha, she was like, we're having this event. We need designers. We'd like to have a show as a designer. I'm like, I don't know. Like, what do I need? She's like, you need 15 looks. I just put the stuff of my closet on the floor. I'm like, okay, that's 15 looks. And it works. But without her, it would have never happened.
See, and we are so grateful you guys both had those people because,
I also had people telling me not to, like, don't work so hard. Like, it's fashion. Like,
Of
like
course.
you have the other.
Like,
Yes.
there's always going to be that.
Like, I remember, like, when I first started working with my coins, which was from day one, like 16 years ago. And what I loved about mine was the fact that they're all hand carved. And I had people close to me saying, Leyla, everyone works with coins. Like, well, you don't, like, it's really nothing special. But I'm glad I didn't let it get to me, and I continued my route, because later on that became one of my staples. And so
That's
goes
very
both
real.
ways.
That's very real.
It's very
You hear
true.
a lot of negative too.
Oh
Like,
yeah, there's a lot.
people will tell you like, oh, but this is just your hobby, right?
I know, I hate it when they say that.
No, totally. I can relate. Like, even me, like, and sometimes it comes from the closest people.
Yeah.
I remember when I started, wanting to take modeling seriously. Like, I remember, like, when people from my own family are like, aren't you, like, too old? Because I started modeling when I was, like, 30, which is very old for, like, the industry standard. And also, oh, you have too much tattoos. Oh, you're too short. Oh, you have too many curves.
That's all bullshit.
But for me, the way I take this, I take it as, like, a challenge, it's a challenge, and it's more like it fuels myself.
So you say your thing, Krista.
But I was just gonna say, you bring this back to the first thing of the trends. right? Because it's like they don't know what the trend is. Even people in the industry that who decides that you have to be young. Like when I was a professional model, you had these people behind these desks at the agencies deciding that somehow they're the third person between the client and the model. So these people are not artists and they have no vision. How could they 100%. Know what the client wants?
No, because look, I've been rejected from every single modeling agency. Never one, like, I'm free agent, but then that's what I'm saying. But then, like, I get so many designers wanting to work with me. So that's why I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to keep doing me.
What I was going to say with it as well is, well, two pieces. One is, you think about it and you look back, and the first thing I always mention is, and took a lot of inspiration when I watched, I think it was Whitney Houston's documentary, watching her story and everything. And people said to her, you might want to calm down with your voice a little bit. It's a little too powerful. But imagine if Whitney Houston didn't give us the power vocals she had, right? And you think about the people who tell you quit. Look at how much the industry shapes and evolves over the years. You think about how you go from in the 80s where Michael Jackson felt like he had to hide his vitiligo. And now we have Whitney Harlow, for example, who's a model with vitiligo. You think about, there's a model in my head. I'm just going to edit it to be right here because I'm going to take a minute to remember her name, but she has a chipped tooth. And I remember for myself when I was going through, I had a very serious accident that happened and I had to get reconstructive surgery on the dental, right? I looked into her. She inspired me a lot because the idea of a model without perfect teeth, it's an antiquated ideology that you can't do that. And she smiles with it. Plus size models, all these things are things that are antiquated ideas that can't be because, again, we are coming from an era where people, they're thinking very much on TV and those 25 to 60 channels ran media, where now it's, you have the power at your hands. Build your following, build your whatever it is. And we're going to go to you because we're like, oh, you have people who will write out for you. And you have people who, if we don't put you in our photo shoot, if we don't put you over here, they're going to be like, why is this person not here? Or what is going on? Why are you not representing this side of the culture here?
The coolest people are the ones who are outcast.
Yeah, the ones that break the rules.
Underrepresented, like the ones that they're being saying no to. Yeah. You know, these are the coolest people, you know?
And I feel like to change the standards and of the industry, it starts from us.
Yeah.
You know, if Evan myself, I was like, well, yeah, I've never seen, a model as tatted as me, you know, or look like me. But then I was like, well, let me be that.
How many girls maybe dreamed of being like you, and then seeing you, you're going to inspire them to actually take that leap.
Which is crazy because nowadays, I've gotten messages from, younger girls or even girls my age being like, wow, you actually inspired me to take a chance and start doing it because I saw you were doing it.
It's everything.
And so, yes. So guys, please, if you feel you can't do it, please start.
It's so true.
And
guess what?
Change started with ourselves.
Those agencies, they would tell me that I needed a natural look, long natural hair. And now I'm older and I have pink buzz cut and I still do modeling. So they really don't know what they're talking about, you know?
And there's someone actually you work with a lot, and I love you mentioned the hair and their look. I think it's Mashawi, thank you. And whenever I see him, I'm like, I look and I see him, I'm like, double take that. I'm like, you are doing something right there. And I love it. And I feel like you guys work a lot together. And I imagine there's a bond where you guys are able to just work with each other and just a flow of connection between each other.
It's funny because we met as a stylist and model. So I was kind of in front of the camera and he was behind it. And now he's a music artist and I'm a designer. So he's in front of the camera and I'm behind it. But it's kind of like we work for each other a little bit. I do his hair as well.
And it's just interesting how it comes about. And it goes back what we were saying earlier with our individuality is our brand. And whether you want to acknowledge or accept it or not, we all have a brand in some kind of way. And if you think about it, it goes back to a classroom, right? If you ever think about it, everyone might be thinking the same thing in a classroom or in a workplace, but it takes that one person to say something and it's like, I don't think this is right. I don't agree with this. Like, this is weird. And then everyone's like, I wanted to say it was weird, but I didn't want to be the first person to say it. So thank you for being the first person to say it. And in a way, with what we create, we're being that first person to just say that quiet thing out loud. And then everyone's like, oh, that is true. I kind of like that.
Absolutely.
But I think what people end up forgetting is that even though this person said the quiet thing out loud, there's still a perspective of that quiet thing that is individual and is true to you that you can still get out. With every color, with every blue, there's a slightly different shade of blue. And you will paint that room. And when that slight shade of blue is painting the whole room, you start to realize it looks very different from that other shade that looks almost similar to it.
You know what? That makes me think of like getting older, because honestly, I love getting older because that's it. It's like you understand your brand more and more, and you realize that everything you've ever done is entangled together, and that's your brand. Like I spend my life trying to figure out what to choose. Like people tell you have to choose one thing. You can't do 2 different things or 3 different things or work on 8 projects at once. Virgil said you could.
Yeah. And I feel like also like we're creative. As a creative, why would you box yourself in one thing?
No.
I'm an artist. I do so many things. I refuse to only stick to one thing.
No. I was going to say, I totally agree with you.
Right? Like, why not? Like, we're meant to be experimenting. That's the true essence of an artist.
Why not mixing all the mediums
together?
together?
And creating something, and it doesn't even matter the outcome. I think the creating part is almost, that's where you get the experience. That's
also what's wrong with AI, right?
Exactly.
Like the creating process is what matters.
Exactly. Not
Why
the
would
outcome.
we just have results without creating processes?
It can't always create what you had in your mind completely. Yeah. But with what you guys are saying with the brand and creating, the one person, what we were saying reminded me of, and as people who watch the podcast and watch my platform, to hear me talk a lot about him, but he's a creator of Sony. Mm-hmm. And I look at what he did as an example, and it showed me that with whatever the thing that you create, like you said, you don't box yourself in, you create a universe of it. Yeah. So the person who created Sony, it's a name that we all hear in so many places, where I think if we were to all think what Sony is, it's you're either thinking a DVD, you're thinking CD, you're thinking music, all these things. Sony just started out as the creator of a compact disc. Mm-hmm. So he just took that creation of a compact disc and thought to himself, how do I sell this? Oh, people are going to want CDs. I'm going to own a record label, and that's how I can sell CDs from there. Wait a minute. People can probably play games on this too. Let me create my own gaming console from this. Wait a minute. People can also have DVDs where they can take movies home. Let me create a film production company. So it's not letting yourself think, because I have this one thing, I have to be this one thing. It's saying, this thing means this. How do I create a world around it? Where now CDs are almost extinct, but Sony's not. Because they were able to expand so much.
It's an evolution also, right? Like, I don't create the same things I was creating 5 years ago, even a few months ago, We're meant to just evolve. And by testing out different things, that's when, we're going to find the new thing.
Experience.
Yeah. That's what I found with what you're saying as well, where when you have the restaurant and you have so much different designs and fashion that you've done yourself as well. You found these different ways to let your creative mind out there, and people are going to connect in some way.
And I'm so glad I shifted all these years, and I still love them all. I still crave having a restaurant. And the other day, I'm like, I should do a pop-up restaurant.
I'm sure there's something there, because I'm sure that in your restaurant you had signatures from your designs. And then what would you do?
And now I have way more experience. I know all the mistakes we made in that business, and I think it could be so much easier. But it's such a big commitment, and I'm like, one thing I've learned throughout the years is that the most precious thing to me right now is my freedom. So I don't want to contain myself to a location. to a country, to a business. Like I want to be free to do whatever I want. So this is like why I don't want to have a restaurant, but I would love to have a pop-up restaurant for a month and do all the crazy experiments I want to do. And I maybe even sell clothes in there and do a fashion show and whatever. So yeah, I think like all these rules and they're meant to be broken.
Yes.
And you got to be creative in whatever you do, like the way you live, the way you design, the way you eat, anything.
At the end of the day, you're someone who creates. And as you evolve in how you articulate your creation and you yourself, it's going to be understood. Yeah. And as you said, like, you already envision, like, okay, even though you went into the restaurant industry, I could see where you put you, and I can see how that can connect with the fashion side of what you do. And I imagine there's other things you think of doing great. Like you said, you've done not just modeling, but you did designing, like hair design. Yeah,
like I would like to have a hair salon/clothing store, and also just a space for creative artists. And
I can visualize it.
And even in the way we do things, like for example, when I do my fabrics, I treat sometimes denim like hair because I do hair. So you bleach hair, I bleach the denim. It's kind of like I think about the rules of one to apply to the rules of the other. And it's just a new form of art that we're creating when we're mixing different mediums together,
And I think it all comes together. And I love how this conversation itself came together. And this really shows a lot of the evolution where we're able to go into how there's ideologies that have become antiquated and there's ideologies that are evolving, but there's a mindset that's always there that grows. And there's things that you grow through your experience for people who are going to the fashion industry. And you see how not even just you have to be a fashion person to enjoy fashion. You just are someone who wears clothes to enjoy fashion. You're someone who enjoys some kind of creation. You enjoy some kind of expression to understand and appreciate this aspect here. And if you're someone who consumes, you're going to consume what speaks to you. And what speaks to you is an art form. You are someone who is creating, you're creating something that speaks to your perspective. And that's always going to be understood in some kind of way. Theater never died, even though you think about the old Shakespeare died so many years ago. Like, theater never died. You think about how the Colosseum is not doing its thing, but
it's crazy.
The artists
it's crazy.
Are still alive.
I still see Marilyn Monroe in the freaking shoppers on the magazines.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, on the covers. Like, everything we create lives on. And success is not only about money, Like, I was telling my mom my last show was so successful. And she asked me, did you sell anything? I'm like, no, not the day of.
Yeah.
But then the following days, like at least 10 people message you to get things. And, for me, the success is like the excitement.
Totally.
Of
the experience. Yeah.
People get excited for what you do next.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. So I want to thank all of you guys so much for this episode here today. And I'd love to see what creates and what comes from this episode here as well. Again, this is what I believe and what I say with this podcast. It's not about growing in a straight line. We grow in a circle together. I love to see the circle grow. So if there's anyone else you would like to see on an episode dedicated to fashion or any other industries that you would like to see a dedication to where we bring people together, please comment below. Please message me as well. I'm very open to all mediums and all conversations here on the Circles Chat. Thank you, everyone who's listened all the way through. Please feel free to subscribe and make sure to follow everyone here in all of their platforms. I'll make sure to have their links down below as well. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.